Okay, so 6 and 7 of American Horror Story. Uh, Two completely different seasons. Did not fall in love with Roanoke. I mean, it's packed. There's a structure to the story that is the same structure regardless of the story in this series. Every season unveils the same way. I can't create, I have a pattern here. I mean, in some ways you understand that, having your process is good, and everyone sort of knows what to expect. But, I mean, there was just so much wrong, because within Roanoke, they couldn't even live within their own delusion. It was like there were so many inexplicable things within the construct of Roanoke that they created that it just didn't ever really come together. It was basically nothing but a lot of dimly lit murders, which, in a horror movie, that's essentially what you want. But I mean, you're pretending to have a story here, and the story has to at least have a consistency to it, which the opposite is obviously in Cult, which is more story-based, with plenty of bloodshed. And I mean, while it's very political in Cult, I think that it's so far over the line on both sides that it balances out, that it's just insanity. And there's like these two groups of 2 to 5% each on either side that are creating all the problems, and basically the other 90 to 96% of the population are pretty normal, like this guy. And I mean, I support a specific person in politics not because I was just enamored 3 years ago. This is someone that I have actually, Anyways, that's neither here nor there. The world is messed up. And yeah, it would be idealistic for idealism to succeed. But this is the thing about idealism and the utopia syndrome. In order for these to exist, they have to exist 100%. Every man, woman, and child on the planet has to be insane, which is where fascism comes into play. Because as the fascists understood, if I want this world that I've imagined to exist, it has to have order and complete structure, which is the downside, which then, of course, becomes the evil cycle that creates the paranoias of, you start limiting and bringing everyone through the funnel into this little teeny weeny line of what is acceptable behavior patterns beyond ration and reason and logic. I mean, you have to have, in order to have this system and this idyllic world, you must eliminate things, even if they're like, there's no reason to condemn something, but you have to condemn something specific to have a position. You have to create an enemy, and everyone's creating everyone else, and basically it's just a system of divide and conquer. You're creating an internal conflict under the guise of removing the internal conflict, and that's where we stand today. So, in a way, cult was actually pretty accurate in highlighting the bad. It's sort of like the Dexter thing, where Dexter was a serial killer, which is bad, even though he technically only killed bad people. But within the show, obviously with Dexter, we came soon to learn that if he was able to build his case against these people so that he could justify killing them, then why couldn't they just be prosecuted with all this evidence? That was the one thing I always got from Dexter. But anyways, so yeah, there's, I mean, obviously, if you're not really paying attention to cult and you just listen to a couple the key words, the flash signs, and the screams, and the way they edit the promo, it's going to be a turnoff, thinking it's one thing, and there's this process in the brain that literally presets, and once you preset it to something, it's kind of hard to, no matter what, in the situation we're in today, it's like there are people who are slowly coming out of the aggro of the past 2 years, because aggro can't last without a constant fresh supply of new issues, especially in this day and age, because each year the cycle becomes shorter. As I mean, at one point a cycle could last centuries, literally. I mean, ancient Egypt, the early Roman Empire, centuries under a static system. And today, I mean, you can go through 3 systems in a decade. And so, there you have it. Yeah, the Roanoke gets the blood curdling done. Don't expect any mind blowing dialogue and logic. And cult is definitely more layered than one would have foreseen.